Is every case a $1 million case? With every injury case, traditionally there's two important requirements. There has to be an injured person, right? Makes sense. There also has to be someone responsible for that injury. Responsible doesn't mean the person's evil or they meant to do it. It means they didn't use the appropriate amount of care. They turned without looking, without making sure it's safe. They backed up without making sure it's safe. We're not talking evil. We're not talking a criminal intent. It just means they didn't do things carefully. That's what we're talking about when we're holding someone responsible. So every injury case, a personal injury claim, has an injured person and someone who's responsible for those injuries. Those are the two basic requirements. There's also a third requirement that no one really likes to talk about, but everyone acknowledges exists. There has to be the ability to pay. And so, is every case a $1 million case? Well, only if there's a seriously injured person, only if someone is responsible for that injury, and only if there's the ability to pay significant damages award. And the ability to pay will be limited by the amount of insurance a person has purchased. In Indiana, there's minimum coverage for automobiles of $25,000. If someone causes an injury and they only have minimum coverage and there's no other insurance to consider, no matter how badly hurt a person is, that case will likely never be a $1 million case because there's no ability for someone to pay $1 million even if the person is catastrophically injured. If there's no insurance to pay, it's not going to be a $1 million case. So what's the solution to protect yourself from someone who might injure you and might not have enough insurance? Well, for example, we recently had a case where a jury returned a multi-million-dollar verdict for our client. Our client was seriously hurt and the at-fault driver only had $50,000 in insurance coverage. Our client's damages far exceeded $50,000. Our client recovered more than $1 million because she'd purchased her own insurance in the event someone that injured her didn't have enough insurance. So our client she thought well ahead, and she was an older client too. The insurance company thought tooth and nail not to pay their client, even though they had no problem at all collecting those premiums every single month. But we were able to obtain full justice on behalf of our client because she had her own separate policy that far exceeded the person's policy that hurt her. So is every case a $1 million case? Of course not. There has to be serious injuries, somebody has to be responsible for causing those injuries, and there has to be the ability to pay. If you have any questions about insurance, what the value of your case, anything like that, give us a call, 317-632-3642. Remember, be safe and look out for one another.